Hey, what's going on, guys? Fate here, and welcome to the channel. And today we're doing SDL Season 9 WOOPER PRs, and I'm joined by Fang. Fang? Buddy? Buddy?
All right.
Are you here?
I am here, yes.
Alright, nice. Okay, good intro. Good intro. I'm also joined by Nim, who helped us out with the PRs. Well, I'm joined by him, but I don't think he's going to talk, but that's okay. Shout out to Nim for helping us with the PRs, though. Anyway, I think that's it, right? Yo, what's up? Okay. Good talk. Oh. Um. Hmm. Oh, he's back. It seems as though we are experiencing some technical difficulties, boys. Um. Yo, Fang. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, what's good, dude? I just didn't want to be a part of the intro.
Oh, you just didn't want to?
No. That's cap. I had technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's what I fucking thought. Okay. Anyways, I guess we'll get into this bitch. So first, in last place, we had all three of us. We all had Gloxinia. Now, Fang, can you tell me why Gloxinia is in last place, dude?
Yeah, I could do that. So I'm gonna pull up Gloxinia's on the overview real quick. But I don't have to look at it to remember round one T-Tar. That's just not something that you grab round one. I agree. I like how it's a sand streamer. Yeah, you don't have pursuit, but then there's rocks. I mean, it's a good breaker, right? But not first round. And then looking at all the mons after that, all of them are kind of just eh. None of them are really overwhelming. Like there's something that you have to prep for. It's just kind of there in a way. I don't really have another way of describing it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just I think the biggest thing is it's really underwhelming, especially when your first two picks are not mons that I think anybody's gonna be scared of. Like, oh, I have like no switching or like it just doesn't pop. It's not like drafting a Mega Gallade or a Mega Diancie or a Latios or something like that that's going to break through teams, or even a Clef that's going to be hard for other teams to break through and has a ton of versatility. So that's one thing. And then the next thing is like it doesn't really even get that much better. Like the best mon on the team is like, at least in my opinion, it's Tyranitar and Cinderace, and then there's nothing really else going on. I think it doesn't get any better after that.
Yeah, that's true. I can agree with that. I was looking at the momentum moves that each mon can bring, and you got Volt Switch with Thunderous or U-Turn, and U-Turn with Cinderace, and that's it, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like it's going to be relying on Volt Switching and U-Turning to get into threats and constantly be applying pressure. It's offensive pressure is just going to have a lot of struggling matchups, I feel, as the season progresses.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. Is there's the best breaker on the team is probably Tyranitar and Thunderous, and maybe Mega Kang, right?
Yeah.
One good thing about this team, I think, at least at the higher bits of it, is the speed tiers. 119, 111, 100 are all really good, to be honest. 100 dropping to 80, not quite as good, but I think the top speed tiers are definitely the best part about this team.
Yeah, the 80 to 100 is a pretty rough speed gap, though. How many mons can you think of that have base 95 speed? Or like base 95 through 100? Like I can think of
Like
Urshifu, Haxorus,
Hydreigon,
Hydreigon.
yeah,
Yeah.
that
Like
is that
those
is a
mons are
rough
going to be able to
rough
just
speed
break.
gap.
Yeah.
Or even base 100s that like don't care about Kangaskhan,
True.
like Jirachi. It can
I
run
mean,
more
I'm
volt.
sure there's plenty. There's so many base 100s out there.
Right, yeah. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the biggest thing about this team is it's just really underwhelming. And that's all we got to say about it. Fang, can you let me know what the next team is, my boy?
Yeah. Going up to the top of this overview, we have Kato drafting Mono Electric, and it should be pretty self-explanatory why it's this low. It's just the same problem every week. What's my opponent's ground type, and how do I play around it?
Yeah.
So, and it's not even that like once I beat the ground type, I win, because there's still, yes, this has a ton of volt switch. Yeah, that's great, but it's not like there's a mon where it's like, oh, if there's no ground type, it just wins, because I don't like. I
Okay,
mean,
there
okay, I might
definitely
be
is a
eating my
Reggie
words later.
Alecki. There
I
definitely
was
is a
just gonna
Reggie
say I'm
Alecki.
probably gonna be eating my words later whenever Reggie Alecki starts just, doing what it does and winning. But the whole task of beating that ground type in the first place is going to be kind of tough to achieve because, as Nim's notes say, half of these electric types can't do much to a ground type.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, the top three hit electric hit ground types really well. Draco's ult can Draco Meteor, pretty strong. Magnus ult can Flash Cannon, pretty strong. But in terms of super effective damage, it's the top three there, and then the Raichu and the Arctos ult, right? Oh, and I guess Vikavolt too. So he definitely has tools to break through electric types, or break through ground types. My bad. But let's also think about it defensively. What a ground type could do to this team, right? Like, let's think about a fast offensive ground type. Either of the Landerses, Excadrill. I mean, there's a lot. I don't even know what the team does. Like, it goes to Rotom, and then another breaker that deals with Rotom comes in, and this team is super frail
Yeah.
outside of Rotom. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory why this team is so low.
Yep.
And also, there's like not great hazards. Um, obviously, uh,
Yeah.
Ninetales being on the team, I think helps a lot. Actually, surprisingly, um, just because Veil's going to help a team that is extremely frail. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's mono electric, so I think that's all we got to say about it.
Yeah. Pretty self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm. Who's next?
Next up, we had M. Chris.
And Chris. Okay.
So this is the first team that we start to see something developing, but it's just not all there.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Mega Moss, Low King, like that's fine. First two picks. Landorus is that's pretty good. But if you look at the whole team, the best mons, we were talking about this earlier, outside of Mawile and Slowking, are like Mienshao, Scolipede.
Yeah.
And if your supporting role mons are the best supporting mons you have in your team are Mienshao, Scolipede, it means there's something missing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And outside of Mawile, not a ton of breaking power. And listen, Mawile is great, but it cannot solo the entire team. It has base 50 speed. So there's that. Obviously, there's the trick room element with Slowking, but I mean, opponents aren't just going to let him trick room every time. So, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
otherwise, the defensively, this team isn't really that great outside of Slowking. He has the bottom three there that can maybe do something, but really not a ton of great defensive mons on the squad.
Yeah. Another note I wanted to make sure we covered. Sorry to kind of change the
That's
momentum a little bit, shift
100%.
gears, but we were talking defensive mons. We got the Slow King, great mon. But then there's Audino, Gigalith, and Tangela for the defensive backing. Um, Audino has one immunity, no resistances, everything else is neutral. Gigalith is weak to two of the most common offensive breaking types in the game, being ground and fighting. And Tangela, being a grass type, is weak to also tons of typings. So its defensive core is just falling apart just looking at it. And I can imagine in games it'll be falling apart probably by turn 10 pretty frequently. The free agency transactions are there for a reason, and I feel that this team can be saved if they're used wisely.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this team can be saved if they're used wisely.
Okay, I think this team is like okay, because there's like Tangela and Gigalith, and those cover each other like all right.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, sure. No, I can't. I just said I can't do that.
Okay. Well, I think we've gone over this team pretty well. So next team.
Right. All right. Who we got?
Number 13.
Nim. Hello.
I can only talk for like 20 minutes afterwards. I head out.
All right.
Hold on, wait. I need to
2 minutes per
bring
team.
my mic closer. Hold on.
It's fine. Rapid fire. We're taking too long anyway.
Oh.
Well, I don't know why we talked so long about the bad teams. That was crazy.
Hello.
Wow.
Hello.
Yo,
you're
hi,
good,
buddy.
man. We can hear you.
All right, this works. All right.
All right. We have Fernicky here, number 13. Same. We had a debate a little bit ago. Placing Fernicky's team with M. Chris's, which one should go higher and lower. I would, if I were using like a Wooper coach, if I were using one of these teams, I would say I want to use Fernicky's team. But I don't know about what about you guys?
I'm not really.
I would not want to use either one, bro. They're both trash.
Okay,
I wouldn't use either one.
Okay, if I had to choose, in retrospect, perhaps I was wrong.
Pressure that Fernicky's team has is very little. On what?
Yeah, so I think Fernicki has like obviously a better defensive core than M. Chris, but offensively it's definitely worse. So I guess it kind of just depends on your play style. But yeah. So Fernicki's team, mostly our biggest knock on it was that it's got bad offensive pressure, as Nim was saying. So that was our biggest knock on it.
He'll probably have to throw in he'll probably have to throw in like a surprise Spec Sylveon or Scarf Sylveon sometimes, or Spectre Gulch and whatnot. Just to throw in some surprise breakers to add some offensive.
Or he's bringing some like offensive Croak or some offensive Rotom.
Yeah. I think he'll have to do that because for the most part, outside of like Aegislash and Darmanitan, this team is pretty weak offensively. So I think he'll need to utilize the versatility of this draft because it does have some decent versatility actually to win his games.
I could agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, our biggest thing with this team was that it had bad offensive pressure. And then also we see two rockers, right? Crook and Miltank. I think that's his only hazards.
Yeah, looks like it to me.
So like those are good rockers, but generally you want to have at least three rockers if that's all you're going to have, or a spiker or something,
Mm-hmm.
And this team could heavily benefit from a spiker, considering how we were talking about how it has bad offensive pressure. So, yeah, those are my thoughts.
I need to not be such a jerk whenever we're reviewing these teams, man.
No, bro, just be a jerk.
Man. Wait, you're telling me we're not allowed to be rude?
No, be rude.
All right.
Okay.
All
right. Next up.
Joey Toast, gotta be rude.
Oh, Mr. Joey, let's go. All right.
Wait, we're already at Joey Toast? Right. This is crazy.
Yeah, we're already at Joey Toast.
Where's Joey Toast on the dock?
So,
I found him.
All right, who wants to go first?
Oh, this
here?
man's fastest one is a Laya. System's whack. He drafted for Raptor when he already is Zapdos Galar. They both do the same thing. Furthermore,
They're
he
literally
drafted an
the same
Oricorio.
mon.
That's never coming to any. Yeah, they're literally the same mon. You brought 3 of the same mons. So which you're never really gonna bring. You're only really gonna bring Zapdos to one game. Well, not to one game, but you're probably gonna bring Raptor to one game. Zapdos Galar for every other game, and Oreo for never. For Stealth Rocks, you have Jirachi and Runerigus. I guess that's alright.
Same thing as
Yes,
like
but they don't
the
really have.
last one. Only 2.
Yeah,
We'd
none of the
like more.
best rocks.
And Jirachi kind of wants to do
Rubric is
more than
all.
just Stealth Rock as well.
Mhm.
That's fair.
When it comes to breaking potential, it's pretty decent. You have Ladi, you have Crawdon, you have Zapdos. Like, it's decent. But when you have a Ladi, you want your Dark type to be a bit more defensive. Crawdon,
Yeah.
because you wanted to take the Dark type hits and you wanted to take the Ghost type hits. But
Yep.
you have,
Yeah.
but
That
you have
was
a
one.
fucking Crawdon as your Dark type.
Super
That's
Ghost
not taking
Week.
anything.
Super
Yeah,
Ghost Week,
that's what-
Jirachi and Latias, and the Crawdon being the only great switch in. I mean, there's a Snorlax too,
He
but
does have a Snorlax. He does have a Snorlax.
I fucking hate Snorlax though. So
Thing's fat as shit though.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
what Nim and I were kind of discussing in when we were kind of comparing tier lists and stuff. I was saying that I can't rate this team very high because the defensive dark type pivot is not existent. Crawdon's not a defensive
Yeah,
dark type pivot, and that's kind of what ideally you would want your dark type to be or potentially be. And Crawdon doesn't even have that potential to even be there.
yeah.
So
I mean,
the lack of a super good dark type is there.
there's 3 Dark Week Mons, right? And two resist. So, and both of them are kind of frail offensive Mons. So that's not good. Like Crawdon doesn't count as a resist. So
Yeah.
okay, there's 3 resists, but my bad. The point still stands. It doesn't matter. Anyway, next. Who's next?
Next we have Lemos, Anti-Hydra Infinity.
Okay, yeah.
We have that. So Torrenti, Hydreigon, Infernape, it's a good core, but then it just drops off significantly.
It
You
does.
took a round for Umbreon, that thing, nothing.
Yeah, I think that Mon's pretty abusable because it's so passive.
Yeah, it also has no place on this team. It's
Yeah,
not gonna
I'm
wish pass
actually.
into
What
anything.
is
It's not
it?
gonna
What does
take
it do here? He has a Hydreigon.
It does nothing. It's fodder.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand this pick at all. Actually,
Then he took Among Us, which is all right, I guess. Maybe he wanted to help out Umbreon in some way. But then he took Mega Manectric. Why? That thing isn't doing shit.
yeah. I
It
mean,
gets walled by a Barboach for crying out loud.
yeah. I mean,
Come on.
I think
So dog shit.
Manectric is not like the super worst Mega, but it's like you had this Mega slot available, right? And there's so many like other things you could have gotten. Like if you would have gotten like a Mega Aggron there or something, which was probably still available at this point, you would have been in a much better situation.
It is, yeah.
So that's at least my opinion.
Your
Yeah.
fairy type is a Gardevoir. You know you've done something wrong here.
Yeah, Gardevoir is not really bulky enough to act as a true fairy in the at least traditional way it's used in draft, and not really strong enough to, I guess, overcome that.
Yeah, that's fair. Originally, when I was making the tier list, I had Lemos ranked pretty high, just because I saw the first 3. And I was like, all right, I think the first 3 is enough to put it up there. But then I saw the 4th, 5th, 6th. I mean, everything else after that is okay. But 4th, 5th, and 6th, then I was like, all right, you had the strong start of the draft that a lot of people desire to have, but then in the middle, you kind of lost focus and then you regained it towards the end. It looks a little bit.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Mhm.
there's hope. There's hope for this, like there is for every team, I guess. There's still like you can't count this team out. This isn't something that you're just gonna take a week off of prepping for because you're gonna get blown back. Still, there is potential
Yeah.
for it.
Right. Offensively, I think this team is actually still really good. Definitely not like the other teams where it lacks offensive pressure.
One thing to note when we're talking about offensive is that Infernape is your only physical mon.
Bro, you're doubting my boy Empoleon.
Yeah, that boy gets SD.
Bro, it's just Infernape.
No, I agree.
Flare Blitz recoil is a sad thing, dude. It's sad.
Yeah.
You combine that with hazards, you're not gonna run heavy duty boots Infernape. Come on, that's just silly. It's
Yeah.
not a thing.
Agree. I think we've said enough about that team, though. So what's next?
It is Star
Star
Maiden.
Maiden.
Star Maiden. Okay.
Star Maiden. Celesteela, Tapu Lele,
Okay.
Conkeldurr, Arcanine.
So I have made not. I wish I could make like PowerPoint presentations on this topic, but all the time when I look at teams and I analyze how good they are, I look at U-turn and Volt Switch potential. This team has Arcanine Teleport and Galvantula Volt Switch. Pretty sure that's it.
Zoroark at U-turn.
I think I said that to Nim, but I wasn't sure if it got it or
I
not.
don't
I
know.
can
I
check real
have
quick.
no idea.
It does
Yeah.
get U-turn. Zora gets U-turn.
Okay, well, it doesn't
Okay,
matter.
so
Zoroark's trash.
that actually
So
helps it a little. No, that helps it a little bit
it
actually,
does.
because
It does.
Zoroark was like its his second fastest mon.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll hit you guys with my biggest problem. This team is slow as fuck, and yeah, there is sticky webs, but you cannot bring Galvantula to every game. And if you are bringing Galvantula to every game, you have a problem because you are bringing Galvantula to every game. Would you agree?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of truth to that for sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
Galvantula is it's an all right mon, but it's far from material that should be coming to every game. And when your team is this slow, you may be forced to bring it to every game to get up webs. And it's not like webs are going to stay up on the whole game on some of the better
Mhm.
players here. And if they do, then you know what, we're all really bad at the game. So
Yeah. I mean, you are in Wooper.
I am in Wooper, so maybe I just want defogging. But but it is ranked this high because um, offensively this team is great. Lele, Conkeldurr, Salamence, even Zoroark, and then of course Celesteela setup potential and defensive potential. Arcanine, Seismitoad, and Megastelix has a very solid defensive backbone in my opinion.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, that also goes to say that Mens can also run a Roost defog set if you're not running a DED or whatever offensive pressure you might decide to bring, even special. That
Yeah,
it
exactly,
has options for defense as well.
exactly. So I
We've
think the
seen
biggest thing holding this back is just the speed. Would you agree?
wait, say that one more time.
The biggest thing holding it back is the speed.
Yeah, I could say that. Yeah, maybe another U-turner that you might bring to more games.
Yeah. What were you gonna say before I rudely interrupted your dumbass?
Uh, yeah, I don't even remember.
Oh, okay.
It do be like that, man. It'll come to me eventually. I'm sure.
All right. Well, maybe we'll speak about that at the end. Next team, boss.
That is Reefer.
Oh, let's clown on him. Let's clown on this guy. Oh shit.
Double U-turn pressure coming out of Urshifu and Victini. Tough to prep for. That means that his opponents are going to have to play a read-heavy game, and he's just going to be clicking U-turn, or he has an easy choice, A or B, and his opponents have to choose between what mon they want to sack. So that's a good problem to have
Yeah,
for Reefer.
Yeah, offensively, I think this team is great. Urshifu and Victini, I mean, they're both impossible to switch into continuously throughout the game, and they kind of do similar things in that aspect. So that's what's pushing this team this high. But I think it does really kind of fall off hard after Urshifu, Victini, and probably Nidoqueen. I think it falls off hard after that.
Yeah, I agree. When I was helping him draft this team, it went towards Tangrowth, and I was like, well, Tangrowth going so early really probably isn't the best idea. There's definitely something out there that's a little bit more worth, but he was prioritizing more bulk and a regen mon. He wanted to use one, so that's the reasoning that he had provided. But I do feel like outside of Urshifu Victini, it does drop off. I agree with that. The hazard potential is just Nidoqueen, and that's really it, unless you're bringing Armaldo to some games.
Armaldo's honestly more usable
So
than like
Fang,
others.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Fang helped him draft.
No, that's
Oh,
okay.
that's misleading. You're right.
Tangrowth and Tornadus, right? You saw Tangrowth Tornadus. He wanted Alamomola next, but that got taken. So I got him a better option, Suicune, the best water type available. And I
think
feel like
Suicune's shit.
you haven't been using it and you don't know how to prep for it.
Huh?
If you think it's shit, you haven't been prepping for it.
Hmm.
Suicune is goated. It is a win con and a half.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess. I think it's better on this team because I think it's better on more offensive teams as a win con than it is on defensive teams because
Okay.
it can force some of its actual checks and counters dead. So
Okay. Yeah.
I think it works better on this team. But yeah, I think our biggest problem
Makes
is
sense.
One Stealth Rocker plus Armaldo, which I like Armaldo. He can come to some games, but really not that great. And then in terms of defog, we have Torn, Rotom, and then Rapid Spin, Sandslash. So that's bad, right? And then Grimmsnarl's, it's a weird mon, but I think he could run maybe some HO stuff with Grimmsnarl, maybe, but not that great of HO stuff because all he has is Urshifu and Victini. But Grimmsnarl can be useful nonetheless with just taunt and then like mid game screens and stuff.
Yeah.
That was insightful, bro.
Yeah, that was good stuff, dude. Good stuff. I agree with Grimmsnarl being a very weird mon. Like
I don't know, it's just wonky. I don't even know how
it
to talk
is.
about him because like
Yeah,
I feel like you can use him
it's
if you use him
actually
really
just,
well, it can be great. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Reggie Drago better bring your fairy type.
Yeah, dude, just Dracovish, but worse.
True.
All right, let's get into the next squad.
That'll be Chumi's.
Oh, I think Chumi's team is a relatively easy team to speak on, if I recall. Yeah, so we see Zapdos, Lopunny, Slowking. Y'all see the team. So I think one thing that we liked about this team a lot was the speed tiers. It's very fast, right? It has pretty solid stealth rockers, Pert, Heatran, decent defoggers. But tell me about the problems this team has, Fang.
Manaphy doesn't get tail glow.
Okay. What else?
That was my problem.
Oh, okay, true.
You said earlier Swampert and Heatran don't have wish support, and that's a pretty big problem.
That is a decently large problem.
Is there another problem you're looking for, bro?
No, well, there is like one slightly other problem that Nin mentioned, and it's that he doesn't have that great of a true breaker. Zapdos can be a decent breaker, but it's definitely situational, and you kind of need to land your Hurricanes. Lopunny is a decent breaker, kind of need to land Mega Kicks though. Heatran can be a decent breaker, but it's probably better used as a trapper. You know, it's probably not going to be used as Eruption very often. At least not every game. So it's fine, but I wouldn't consider it the best breaker either. So in terms of offensive pressure, this team has it's fast, so it definitely has some offensive pressure. But I think he might be struggling on some Okos that he would have otherwise.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially since Lopunny doesn't have access to good setup. Obviously, if Lopunny had good setup, it'd be great. But it
Correct.
doesn't.
And this team doesn't really have setup in general if you look at it.
Yeah, I guess it's like Calm Mind, Manaphy, and like
Calm Mind, Slowking.
Yeah, and like sub Zapdos and sub Lopunny. Mm-hmm. But like every mon gets sub, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't really count. So yeah, when you look at everything else here, you don't think of autotomize Steel as a threat, or like you don't think Calm Mind whatever or SD whatever or Nasty Plot whatever on this team is really going to be something that you need to prep for.
I guess there's just not that big win con that a lot of other teams have. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it's overall solid, and if he plays well, he'll definitely do well. And it's definitely a team that you can do well with. What's next?
Yep.
Oh no, Nim left the call, dude.
Yeah, he said he can only talk for like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Well, we're on to his team now. Oh. Unfortunately, he doesn't get to hear us cover it.
So let's call it shit. Agree?
Well, so I had pretty mixed feelings when I saw Garchomp Fini on his top 2. It was like Fini supporting with Misty Surge is great for Garchomp not getting burned or toxic or anything, but also it's weakening its Dragon Stab, so like Scale Shot, Outrage if your opponent's Fairy type is dead, which isn't very common, I guess. But still, Scale Shot, one of the biggest additions to Garchomp's arsenal in the last generation, is going to be hitting less because of Fini's Misty Surge. So there is that holding it back, but still, Mega Medi, one of the best breakers, I think. Fantastic. Paired with a Weavile, doing the same thing, breaking teams down, being a win con in the end if need be, threatening as heck to prep for. Then what do you see lying underneath the Weavile on his team's roster?
I mean, I think most matchups you'll be looking at Licky Licky. Because a lot of matchups, it's just not going to be advantageous to bring Musharna. And then there's definitely probably more matchups where Roselia can be brought. But at the end of the day, it's a Roselia. As long as you have a decent Defogger and a mon that can absorb status, you'll probably be okay.
Yeah, when I see this team, I see like the top 6 coming and being a super threatening team. But if you squeeze Licky Licky on there, one of those boys is going to have to go. So it's just, you got to pick your battles. Not every mon looks like it's going to be able to come. Instead of having the 11, no, he went with 10. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he went with 10.
So the 10 mons that he actually has like 7 or 8.
Yeah, and also another thing that I don't think Weavile's that good. It's a great speed tier for his team, but in terms of physical breaking, he actually didn't need it that much. Dark type is obviously nice, but I don't think that Weavile adds all that much.
Man, we got a Weavile sleeper.
I am a Weavile sleeper.
I feel like anytime I play Weavile, I always lose to it. Like I just don't know how to prep. Maybe I just don't know how to prep. That is possible.
I feel like every time I've used Weavile, I'm like, man, this shit doesn't Oko this? What the fuck? You know? I don't know.
Yeah. All right, I got to start talking about a U-turn volt switch because I only see
Okay.
one thing.
Okay. Yeah.
I see a
I
red
guess.
heat.
I guess momentum is kind of a problem as well. Yeah. That was nice. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, momentum can kind of be a problem with that, and then also defensively, I think this team is solid, obviously, but I definitely could see it struggling in some areas. Um, Specifically, I think that Feeney and Rotom are great, like pivot mons, or can be defensive mons as well. They can be worn down pretty easily, and I think oftentimes they're better used offensively. So that's one thing.
Right.
And then that kind of leaves Skarmory, Musharna, and Licky Licky, and I guess Roselia as well. But there's a lot of games where those mons aren't that good defensively. But really, that's probably
Yeah.
just us nitpicking, nim picking. It's funny.
That was funny. That
Yeah.
was good.
But yeah,
We
good
like dad
team.
jokes out here.
Good team. Good breakers. Powerful. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
All right. The favorite one we have to analyze the entire night.
Which one?
Big boy Redikai drafting my favorite battling styles.
Oh.
My oh my dude. Clef, Toxapex, Pharaoh, Gothitelle, and Sableye. You are so many things that I don't want to say because you're a great person. You're a great dude, man. You're my best friend. But
I would
this
not say that about Redikai. Great dude.
no.
That is not the first thing that comes to my mind.
No, I mean it, bro. But anyways, if we were rating, I guess I should say that in my initial rankings, I had Redekai's team placed a lot lower because I was very biased against Stahl. But if we were ranking these teams based on how many wins we thought they were going to get, I would have ranked Redekai's team higher because I think Stahl is going to win more than it should.
And WOOPER, at least.
Yeah, right. So there's that. But if I'm just looking at the team and taking it at face value for what the team is worth, this is where we kind of agreed to have him placed. We don't want to have any spoilers for week 1, do we?
Nah.
All right.
But yeah, so to give you, this team is obviously, it's great defensively, going to be really hard to break for a lot of teams. And then Starmie's a good Gloomon that can probably come in and revenge a lot of stuff if something ever does go wrong. Obviously, Gothitelle is going to be able to trap some of the biggest threats to the team as well. So that's funny. And then also Zygarde and Gothitelle can kind of win a game at any point if they're set up correctly, which is really nice. So that's great. But the biggest problem with this team is that it's really ground weak because I believe he has no resists and his only immunity is Knocked Owl.
Yeah.
And that shit is a Knocked Owl. So no ground immunity or no ground resists really suck. Thankfully for him, there's actually not a lot of great offensive ground types. Really, it's just Landorus's, Excadrill, and Gliscor. I guess maybe Crook as well can be a problem for this team. But really, that's about it. So I don't think that's the worst weakness for a team, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just other than Mega Sableye Magic Bounce, I would just say like Taunt. Like Taunt just
Taunt also fucks him up. But I think there's some stuff that he can do to get around that. And I mean, he does have Starmie and Entei, which I definitely think helps because they both can be decent breakers, I guess, right? So I think that helps.
Sure.
But yeah, Taunt can definitely be a problem.
No, yeah, I think you're right. Like even Starmie gets to fit the role as a bit of a staller too if you run that with recovery.
Yeah.
You know. So that's interesting too. Then he ended up finding a breaker or a revenge killer that also still had access to recover and sticking with the stall theme.
That's funny. All right. I mean, I think we've said our 2 cents about this game or this guy right here, this team.
This guy, big boy Reddit guy.
All right. What's the next team?
We're in the top 5, bro. We have Mac Daddy now.
Oh, let me tell you about Mac Daddy, bro. Okay, so Mac Daddy here, my boy Big Mac drafted some Excadrill, Slowbro, Sand with Gardevoir, Thunder's Tea, and Zarude. I really do like the top 6 there. After that, we're looking at kind of a drop off, but Frostlass is pretty usable. Wow, I think we overrated this, but it is what it is. Um,
What?
but
You think it's overrated?
yeah,
No, I think that works with this team, just as a suicide league.
no, I think Frostlass is good, but I don't think he should Lycanroc and Stoutland are more sand sweepers, but cool, I guess. Swalot's unusable. Stoutland's probably unusable most of the time as well. Embor adds another breaker, but was he really struggling with breaking like that? I don't know. But I do really like Slowbro and Gardevoir, and then he pairs that really nicely with Zarude to cover the Ghost and Dark weaknesses for those guys. So I do really like that. And then in terms of ground weakness for Drill, he covers that with Thunder's Tea pretty nicely. So I think this is some of the best type coverage that we've seen for any of the teams.
Yeah. I think personally, after using Thundy T, that it's kind of an underwhelming breaker because it gets revenge so easily. Being 101 speed, there's so many mons that outspeed 101 and have a super effective move. It's only rock and ice, right? Only weak to rock and ice, pretty sure.
It's just really frail though, so it doesn't matter.
It is. Yeah, it is. You don't even have to have a super effective hit to do anything to it. You just have to have something that outspeeds 101. But thankfully, if Thundurus does its job and just kills the mon that's in front of it, that paves the way for Excadrill and Sand most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of breakers do get revenge pretty easily, but Thundurus especially gets revenge pretty easily, and it can have it can kind of struggle to set up sometimes as well because it's so frail that it has to take a risk or the player has to make a prediction to ensure that it's not going to die.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah,
I see where you're coming from there. Normally, if you're going to have something to wall an Excadrill or keep an Excadrill from winning, it's going to be, I feel most commonly, it'll be a bulky water or a bulky grass, like a Tangrowth or something.
mm-hmm.
Both a bulky water and a Tangrowth, or any bulky grass really, is kind of setup fodder for a Thundurus.
Yeah.
Or just begs the Thundurus to start breaking. So there is some synergy there.
And same thing with flying types as well for Thundurus. So I definitely think there's synergy there.
What do we want to say about this team? I haven't seen Zarude. I've seen Zarude used pretty well in one battle once. So it's hard to say that I know a ton about what's going on, but it reminds me a little bit of Hoopa Unbound or Malamar, where it dies to a U-turn.
No. It's a lot bulkier than those ones.
I'll take your word for it, bruv. I'm sure I'll see it in action a few times.
Yeah, it's a lot bulkier than those mons, and definitely, I think, is more splashable than those mons at least, and probably even more threatening of a setup threat than those as well. So
yeah,
I think that's one big thing. But I think we said all that we really can about this team. So what's next?
All right. I think that's all I was looking to say about that team. How about you, man?
Yeah, that's what I said. That's all
sorry.
I want to say.
Your audio is super buggy.
My bad.
Dude.
My bad.
What's next? I've been struggling to hear you this entire time. I'm trying to make do with what I can.
Yeah, I know. What's next?
But hey, look at you. I don't even have to hear you talking to hear you talk about your own team, bruv. You're up next.
Nice. Okay. What do I want to say about my team? So, my team, I think I started it off really well. with Mew Mega Arrow. I think they're both great Pocky monsters. And I think Landorus T is like kind of a steal round 3, so I decided to go with that, and I'm pretty happy about that. So I got 3 Stealth Rockers and a Spiker and a T Spiker and 3 Defoggers within the first 3 rounds, so I felt really good about that in terms of utility. And then after that, I was thinking water resist because 2 of my best mons are weak to water. And then I was also thinking dark and ghost resist for Mew. So I think I covered the typings pretty well there. And then I wanted another breaker and I wanted more speed, something to fill the gap in between Mega Arrow and Mew, which is admittedly still big. So I got Gengar. And then I needed a ground resist outside of Landorus. And I also wanted a Spiker. And then some other shit I don't remember. But it definitely resists more than that. So I got Chestnut. And then I wanted a electric type because I didn't have much to take advantage of bulky waters. So I got Toxtricity. And then the rest are kind of filler, but Bramble's a cool cool fairy type. So I got that. I think it's a pretty solid team overall.
Yeah, no, Gramble's fine. For a budget fairy, I think Gramble's fine.
Yeah.
Mew Mega Arrow being 150 is going to be able to run Adamant against so many different teams. Like having 135 or faster is so rare that you're just able to run Adamant no matter what.
Yeah.
If that's not good enough, you have a Lando T with SD explosion, U-turn, momentum. That's another threat that you have to worry about. If you're worried about Mega Arrow, you should keep looking because you have still some prep to do. A Lando T, that's tough to prep around.
Well, let's not forget about Mew as well. I can run whatever I want with Mew whenever I want. And I think that's the biggest thing with this team is its versatility.
It's true, yeah.
Versatility.
We shall see the fire Mew prep that fate brings some weeks. I can't wait.
I always bring fire Mew prep, dude. Don't trip.
In the first 3 rounds, I noticed that both Arrow and Lando were weak to water.
Yeah.
But so I was like, he's gonna need a water switch in, and this man grabs a water immunity, which is even better. But then he goes and grabs Cineroar, which is again weak to water. But I guess if you have a water immunity, you don't have much to worry about, honestly. Especially if you have a Toxtricity to take advantage of those bulky waters anyways.
Yeah, and then I also got Chestnut to double as another switch in. So.
Oh, my bad. The overpriced Spiker that's a ground resist. Yeah, forgot about him.
I think you're hating on my boy Chestnut for no reason.
Yeah, I definitely am.
But yeah, I mean, I think this team is pretty versatile. There's definitely some things with it, like overlapping typings. I am still pretty weak to water, and Vaporeon and Chestnut can definitely be taken advantage of. So it's definitely still a problem. And then I think I only have 1 rock resist, so rock's pretty spammable against my team.
Yeah.
And there's definitely some problems with it, but I think the versatility is really what pushes it this high.
Yeah. So what were you thinking about when you went with the Zweilous pick, bro?
I think
we all want to know.
I was like, what's my favorite 1-pointer? What looks the coolest?
What looked the coolest?
Oh, it was Zweilous.
Oh, that's funny. Alrighty, should we get going into the top 3?
Yeah, top 3. Man, this is a long video. This is the longest video on my channel. Easy.
All right, let's try and wrap it up. Horus, I think, is number 3.
I believe you're correct.
Horus is number 3, yes. So let me find his team. Just so I can squeeze in my bit real quick before you start talking. Okay. I know we have a lot to talk about with these last 3 teams because they're pretty good. But if you only remember one thing, Latios, Megasis, Gliscor, such a great trio, dude. So good. Double U-turn, triple defog, special and physical threats out the well, you have that balance there. Latios being able to run physical or special, spec, scarf setup. the defog support. Megasis never has a bad matchup. Gliscor, one of the best pivots in the game. Like, that's such a fantastic trio. And I love seeing that and being like, yep, Horus is top three, guaranteed. Like I didn't hesitate, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree 100%. I just, this team, I don't think he should perform poorly with this because the top three is just that good.
Well, I mean, 3 Mons don't win the game. You bring 6, so 6 Mons have to win. So yeah, you are right there.
Okay, listen. Let's just say we saw the Dylan game this week. We know what Latios did. I don't think you need to bring 6.
When they all died of the same Mon, it don't really mean much.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think this team is solid. I think covers typings pretty well. Good breakers with Primarina and Latios. And then in terms of physical breakers, Blaziken works okay. And then Scizor and Gliscor can also be SD setup threats. Biggest knock against this team is it's kind of slow. Serp and Latios are just, they're a little slower than some of the fastest Mons on other teams. So I think that's the biggest knock against this team, and really the main thing holding it back from being probably one.
Yeah. You were saying, while we were going over some of these teams, that Superior is kind of a waste of space because it has 2 sets and it uses the same moves on both of those sets.
Yeah.
So if you were looking for a Mon that fit this team that you'd be able to substitute instead of Superior, what 10-point Mon would you grab? Or cheaper?
I mean, that'll be kind of hard to say without looking at it. But I would probably, you'd have to grab another grass type, right? So you probably want to grab one of the lower tier grasses. Because you kind of need a ground resist. I mean, you don't actually need the ground resist. Thinking about it, you got Gliscor and Latios, so you don't necessarily need the ground resist. Actually, I'm not sure if you need the grass type. I guess you need it more as a water resist than a ground resist.
Yeah, I guess.
I would probably grab one of the lower tier grass types because they have pretty nice value for the most part. So I'd probably grab one of those, and then with the remaining points, fill Serp with a decent defogger, maybe like a Xatu or something.
I was thinking like Decidueye.
I think Decidueye is like 11 though.
Oh. All right. Well, ideas there. We tried.
Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the number 2 team.
We got Sammy CE, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let me find your team. All right. Mega Gallade, amazing. Corviknight, amazing. Gran and Kyurem. I wanted to use that combo. Like in Quag, I wanted to use Mega Gallade, Gran, and Kyurem. And when I saw he got all 3 and a Corviknight, I was so jealous, dude. So jealous.
Yeah, so this team, it has incredible offensive pressure with Gallade, Gran, Kyurem. Kyurem doesn't have a switch in, Gallade doesn't have a switch in. So I think that's honestly amazing. Great speed control with Greninja and Raikou. I don't know how you say it, dude. But they're both really fast, so I really like those Mons. Honestly, really good hazard game with the Heligo and Greninja and Donphan. And then obviously Corviknight's probably it might be the best defogger, one of the best defoggers in draft.
Yeah, it could. I didn't see the synergy beforehand in the hazard setting. You know, you got Grind and Neoligo with T spikes and spikes and whatnot, and then just Donphan to spin, so you can just spike as much as you want.
Yeah,
that's pretty nice. Not to mention it's also a rocker too, so just more hazard support. One thing Nim wanted to say about this team is that its dark type is a Gren. So if you're up against a ghost type, like a Gengar or Spectrier, I don't think Spectrier is drafted in WOOPER, but
yeah, well,
you know, like a Gengar. Well, like a Gengar, for example. I wonder who has that.
Not
it's
me.
kind of mandated that Kecleon comes, just so the ghost spam isn't possible, and also to keep Shadow Sneak priority in the back pocket.
Yeah, that or he brings like fucking AV Nihilego or something.
That thing eats, bro. I used
Yeah,
that in the Trick House solo tour.
yeah,
That thing can eat.
yeah. So I mean, this team definitely has some weaknesses, but I think the uh, the the offensive pressure is just way too much to deny it being top tier, bro.
Yeah, I agree. I see a slowpoke on this team, so that's cool.
That one's great.
Yeah. The Nib's note isn't at least on his doc, it's not 70 question marks like he had for Armaldo and Reggie Drago in San/Alola. It's very situational. I can't think of a game where I've seen a slowpoke brought where it has to be up against things like Mega Gallade, Tapu Koko, like actual threats.
Okay, let's move on to number one. It is.
Oh, come on. You just want me to stop talking.
It's Stanny B. And
All
Stanny
right.
B has he has a great team. I think Diancie and Rillaboom are like cheating. I don't think they're fair. Offensively, I don't know if they have bad matchups. I mean, Rillaboom runs into Flame Body or Static. It's not great, but there's definitely protected pads and stuff and other things that you can do to get around those types of matchups. And like I think Diancie is like a top 5 mon as well, and the rest of the team has really good synergy with them. So
Yeah, agreed. You were talking earlier about the first thing you noticed was that it had 3 solid stealth rockers. Deancey, Nidoking, and Necrozma. Fantastic setters.
yeah,
Uh Linoon will probably win a game this season, I'm sure.
of course. It has great speed tiers as well.
The
Talonflame down to
bulky.
Diancie.
That's true. Yeah, and it being also 121 base speed too.
Yeah.
I don't Nim has a note here saying that Scrafty is a niche dark type. I don't think it is a niche dark type. I think it's a pretty good dark type pivot, just something to have to not lose to the darks or the ghosts. I don't think it is a niche dark type. It's definitely
The word
on the
you're
lower
looking
end
for
of
is
this of
niche,
cheap.
but
Oh wow. Okay, I've been taught all wrong in elementary school of how to pronounce that word. I've been
yeah,
failed.
yeah, no, they were wrong. You should,
You learn here, kids. Don't go to school.
bro. You should go back to your elementary school teachers and be like, yeah, you guys can't do your jobs. Anyway, I think Scrafty's like fine. It's not great, but he's not especially weak to Ghost or Dark anyway. Really, the only one that has a problem is Necrozma. Um, and Necrozma's not the focal point of the team, so I don't have a huge problem with Scrafty being the Dark.
No, no. So what momentum moves? I got to go on my soapbox real quick. What
Okay,
momentum moves we got? We got U-turn Scizor, U-turn Rillaboom. Well,
Talonflame.
Alamomola doesn't get flip turn.
Does it get the Tom
U-turn
Pass?
Talonflame. It does get Baton Pass, I think. I
I don't remember.
don't know. I feel like Alamomola has move slot syndrome.
Raichu gets Volt Switch. I think honestly for
Yep.
me,
So we
the
got plenty to talk about.
yeah, no, there's actually a lot of good momentum there, and I think the thing that put this team over for us at least was the fact that it has incredible breakers in Diancie, Rillaboom, and Nidoking, and then it also has really good defensive core with Scizor, Necrozma, Alamola, and even Talonflame and Scrafty can be used as well. So I think it just has a really solid core there.
Absolutely, man.
All right, now that we've talked about all the teams, I'll go ahead and go over to this overview sheet that we have here to show out all of the rankings, all of our each individual rankings. So
Yep.
here it is, you guys. So as you can see, we all had Stanny B at the top. So yeah, that was pretty unanimous. And then me and Fang had Sammy CE. Me and them did not rank ourselves. Thank you. I am pretty bad. Just look at literally all my records in the past like 3 months. It's pretty bad. True. Yeah, true. And then we also had Horace. So me and Fang's rankings were relatively similar. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys all of our individual rankings. And then we also have this overview with all the teams made by Nim, which I'm very gracious for. Helped us, helped us decipher the teams and figure out where we wanted to place them. So big shout out to Nim for that. He did say Zygarde sucks, which is kind of weird because that's like such a like summer 2020 opinion to have, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think that's all we have to say.
I think so, man. I think that wraps it about up. Thanks for having me. We'll be doing. Are we gonna do Crab Quagsire PRs?
Yeah, let's not make it this fucking long though.
Yeah. All right, you got it, man.
All right. None of y'all probably made it this far, but thank you for watching the video and like it and do all that shit.